Welcome back from spring break, everyone. We are just going to jump straight into the lesson today. Today what we are doing is we are reviewing 11-4 and 11-5. Those are two sections that we already covered before spring break, but we're just going to review them one more time. So before you begin, what you should have right now in front of you is a piece of paper, a pencil. I'm using a pen so you can see it, but you should use a pencil. And a calculator. Any kind of four-function calculator will be just fine. Okay, so pause this. If you don't have those things, pause it right now, go grab them, and we will get started. So before we do any of this, I want you to know that you are going to be submitting your notes and your homework to me online. So how you're going to do that is either take a picture of it or scan it in. So if you prefer to scan, you're gonna be wanting to do this on just regular loose leaf paper, but if you just wanna take a picture of it and email it to me, then you can use a notebook. So we're just gonna get started. This is reviewing 11.4 and 11.5. Okay, and we're gonna start with 11.4. So the very first thing is a review, and that is what a denominator is. Now, if you already know this, you don't need to copy it down. Some of us might need a refresher. A denominator is the number or expression on the bottom of a fraction. All right, here's where you do need to start copying. Remember, you are submitting this to me, and this submission of just copying your notes is going to be part of your grade. So the first thing is adding expressions with like denominators. So here's an example of that. Say we have 4 over 3y plus 7 over 3y. So how we are going to simplify that is the very first thing you have to do is make sure that they have common denominators. If they do, then we're good. The denominator stays exactly the same, and all you have to do is add the top two numbers. Can we simplify that? No, we cannot. So we are done there. That simple, okay? The second thing is subtracting expressions with like denominators. Okay, so an example of that might be 7x plus 5 over 3x squared minus x minus 2 minus 4x plus 3 over 3x squared minus x minus 2. Now, if you think you remember how to do this, just pause it, give it a try, and then come back to the video and see how it is done. Otherwise, just keep following along. So when we think of subtracting, we are subtracting this entire thing from this. So when you see a subtraction sign, really that applies to the 4x and the 3. So to help you remember that, I just go ahead and change that to a plus and make this negative and this negative. So now, just like before, denominator is the same, so that stays the same on the bottom. And on the top, we have 7x plus 5 plus negative 4x plus negative 3. Okay? So now we combine like terms. 7x we can combine with negative 4x, and that gives us 3x. 5 minus 3 is positive 2, all over 3x squared. Whoops, that shouldn't be squared, that's just an x. Minus x minus 2. And because we cannot simplify that, we are done. That's our final answer. All right, so the third thing that you might see is different denominators. Okay, so an example of that is 3 over d minus 1 minus 2 over d plus 2. So when you are trying to find common denominators, it's a good idea to look for factors. When they are two different expressions like this, the easiest thing that you can do is just multiply the two denominators by the opposite one, and I'll show you what I mean. So the common denominator here is just going to be d minus 1 times d plus 2. So to make it that, we are going to multiply this whole fraction by d plus 2 over d plus 2. Okay, that does not change the value of it because these could just cancel out and it would be 3 over d minus 1. Okay, and then over here, since this is d plus 2, we are going to multiply the top and bottom by d minus 1. Times 2 and times d plus 2. So now you can see that the two denominators are exactly the same. So we are now allowed to subtract these two. PEMDAS does tell us before we are allowed to add and subtract, we have to do all multiplying and dividing. So there is some multiplying here we can do. We can do some distributing. So let's distribute that 3d plus 6 over, and I won't make you FOIL this, just keep it d minus 1 over d plus 2. Minus, same thing over here, 2d minus 2 times 1 is 2 over d minus 1 times d plus 2. Okay, and just like we did with the subtraction problem right before that, we are going to change this into a plus and change these two signs. Okay, just so we remember to subtract everything, not just the 2d. So that's going to be 3d plus 6 plus negative 2d plus 2 all over our common denominator, d minus 1, d plus 2, which is equal to, all right, combine like terms on the top, 3d minus 2d is 1d. 6 plus 2 is positive 8. All over d minus 1, d plus 2. And just because we know that 1d is the same thing as d, we'll rewrite that, d plus 8 over d minus 1 times d plus 2. All right, and there is your refresher of section 11.4.